Hello and welcome to Hockenheim. The new DTM season 2012 has begun. We are thrilled to be here. Finally, we are back with the DTM. And behind me are the key players of the DTM. And you can expect a very, very exciting race weekend. So do enjoy the highlights.
Yeah, thanks very much, Verena. We're at Hockenheim for the start of a new DTM season. But of course, it's the new DTM. BMW are here against Audi and Mercedes-Benz. We have brand new cars, we have new drivers, and a lot of excitement. Over the winter, of course, the cars have been tested extensively. Two of the big names, Bruno Spengler, Martin Tomczyk, have joined BMW, who rejoined the DTM after some 19 years. They won the very first race of the DTM originally, and they won the last race in which they competed. There's Gary Paffett. He's looking forward to the new Mercedes C-Class Coupe. Yes, the new cars have 2 doors rather than 4. There we saw Nico Rosberg. Yeah, the DTM is all new for 2012. 7 new drivers and, of course, a new manufacturer in BMW. When a regulation has been enforced for 10 years and the car makers have been helped to develop that regulation, then the car makers quite simply have an advantage. That's why we've had to simply draw a line so that all the car makers have an equal chance for the coming season. Yes, equal chances for everyone. The 3 car manufacturers will be battling it out. But will newcomers BMW have the same pace as Mercedes? With that C-Class Coupe and Audi now using the A5 profile. For us, it was very important to make a fascination theme. And when I look at the cars today, I must say it's been a success. The cars are wider and they're flatter. So, let's hear now from Mike Rockenfeller. He says this is the new A5, it's lower, it's wider, and also he says it's very comfortable on the road surface. Yes, the controls. This year, gone is the old gear shift. It's going to be a paddle shift, and I like to use that. I've used it on my Le Mans car, he says. Also, there's a new chassis, and that's a carbon chassis rather than the old steel frame. And let's see that carbon chassis now. It's not only high-tech, but it's also much safer, says Mr. Schacht from the DMSB, Christian Schacht. There's energy absorption areas, and we're really pleased with the way it's worked out. There you see those absorption zones, makes the car so much safer. A lot of thought has gone into this common chassis, which is built in Germany. The rear spoiler is also different. Yeah, says Mike, the spoiler looks very different from last year. It's a lot bigger. It's just one element this time. We had a double spoiler before, and altogether the aerodynamics on the car are quite a bit different. Makes it easier for overtaking, I think, but we're going to find that out. A lot of other rule changes. Another one is the pit stops. Yes, says Mike, the pit stops are going to be quite a bit different. To remember, last season at the two mandatory stops, we used to also squirt in 20 litres of fuel. We had a small fuel tank, but now we have a 120-litre tank, which will allow us to run all the way. So it will change the strategies quite a bit. And the tyres. Hankook returned for a second year, but the tyres are now wider at the front and back. That means more mechanical grip, particularly in the slow bends. You can brake later with these fatter tyres, so that makes the car, again, very good to drive. I'm really looking forward to these new DTMs and the new season, says the former Le Mans winner. Also changed the point system. It is now going all the way down to 10th place, and there will be, just like Grand Prix racing, rather than 10 points for the winner, they will be 25 points. So lots of new regulations for 2012, and a huge crowd lining up at the Hockenheim track to see the start of the new era. But one thing that hasn't changed, it's the Hockenheim circuit, of course, used twice a year for the DTM. Hankook animation here will give you a feel for this circuit, which also hosts in 2012 the German Grand Prix. Huge grandstands in the stadium area, hold 120,000 people. The first Nord curve is pretty tight and has a big run-off. It's a critical turn to get a good run to the next right-hander. There we go. And then it flicks left to the corner, which has just been named after Bernie Eccleston. And then through the long parabolica up to high speeds here of 160, 170 miles an hour. And then the long run into the hairpin where braking is absolutely critical. We see some overtaking there. Right down to first gear, then snatching the gears up second, third, fourth, and then we've got another right-hander comes. You see on our animation at the top where we are on the circuit, coming down towards the stadium section, which is quite a bit different. Left, the stadium section needs lots of traction. We're away from the high-speed bits of the track, but finally down a bit of the old original straight before now we turn right into the stadium section. Quick blast into the Sachs curve, which is a long left-hander, takes you all the way round, and then down to the right-hander, which leads into the Sud curve, and then again very good traction needed to pull out of here to take you past the pits. And that is a lap. BMW versus Audi there. Will be a Merc next time, I suspect. And track length, 4.57 kilometres. The race will be 40 laps. So, qualifying coming up, and an absolutely incredibly hot day, over 30 degrees. The fans in the grandstand certainly enjoying that. And on pole position, it was this man, Matthias Ekstrom, and he celebrated in style.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great day. I mean, with the weather here, it's fantastic to kick off the new DTM era. I have to say I'm really happy and relieved that I'm in front. And there, the only advantage I have is that I have the shortest way to the finish line.
What about BMW, the new cars? They were looking pretty good. And Dirk Werner qualified in third place. There he is in the yellow BMW.
It's really a fantastic start for BMW, for me, into this season, and a great satisfaction really to know that the car is fast.
And also fast Mercedes-Benz locking up at a very quick time for Jamie Green. He qualifies in second place. Let's hear now from the Audi team boss.
All the cars very close together in qualifying. Now the three brands on the three first places, very close together. It was impressive how well this new rule book worked out.
Another big surprise in qualifying, Eduardo Mortara, 2011 Rookie of the Year, will start from fourth place, but he's not happy.
It's a mix of feeling, to be honest with you. I feel for sure, really happy because we achieved Q4, which is always a great result in qualifying. But I did a mistake that cost me probably, a better position, but we will see.
And Mike Rockenfeller in the old Tomczyk colours there. He qualified in fifth place. Then it was the 2005 champion, Gary Paffett, the second best Merc. And then it was Martin Tomczyk down in 10th place, the reigning champion. And here we see the top 11 qualifiers. And a few surprises there. Bruno Spengler with BMW down in 9th. Good qualifying from Andy Prio in his DTM debut. And all the way down to 22nd place. And the two girls there bringing up the 11th row of the grid. So cars filtering out now for the start of the 2012 season.
I'm now here with the DTM champ 2011, Martin Tomczyk, the #1, and it was your first qualifying now this season. You're starting in P10. Are you all right with that, or are you a little disappointed?
I mean, first race you have to see the overall result for BMW, and that's definitely amazing. I mean, 4 cars in the top 10, it's just a nice feeling, hard work over the winter, and now we just prove it that the work we did was the right one. It's just a nice feeling now. For my position, P10 for sure, I'm not as happy as I should be, but definitely it's okay, I would say, for the first race. Now we're looking forward for this race, and we see if I can gain some positions in the race.
Now everybody's talking about the new era of the DTM. How does it actually feel?
It's a great feeling. I mean, to have 3 manufacturers here on track. I mean, it was already when I came here to the racetrack. It was a very cool feeling, a special feeling, especially when I drove out the first time for free practice, to have all 3 manufacturers on the track. And I mean, spectators, it's completely sold out here in Hockenheim. The weather is nice. Everything seems to be perfect. As well, the qualifying, it was very close between the 3 manufacturers. So we will see what's going on in the race. But I guess we show the spectators a very great and tough race.
I was just going to say, it's going to be a tough race. Where do you see yourself? What are you hoping for in the race today?
I mean, we saw yesterday in the qualifying that it's very tight. I guess it will be the same in the race. So definitely we keep on pushing. For sure, our aim is to earn as much points for BMW as we can. Besides me is Bruno, and perhaps we can go in the double pack to the front.
That'd be interesting to see. I'm crossing my fingers. Thank you so much, Martin. And now we're looking forward to a very exciting race.
So here we are, packed grandstands at Hockenheim for the start of the 2012 season. The new era of the DTM with the new, exciting, highly technological cars. BMW are back, and excitement all around. Michael Schumacher is here, and he would be driving a Formula One car. In fact, here he is doing some donuts in the last year's Mercedes-Benz. On Saturday, Nico Rosberg had demonstrated one of the 1955 cars, but Michael certainly was enjoying this, and he will be mentoring some of the drivers from the Mercedes junior team. Jackie Ickx is down there on the grid as well, the great Le Mans champion with Dr. Ulrich. And Amongst the newcomers, the Spanish prospect Roberto Merri, one of the new faces on the grid, the reigning Formula 3 champion. David Coulthard, an old hand at motor racing, back in the DTM.
You're starting in pole position, obviously the perfect positions to start, but we saw yesterday in the qualifying it is very competitive, even more so than the years before, it seems. How optimistic are you that you're going to end up on the podium?
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to find a guys like Jamie Green and Mercedes, and Dick Werner from BMW was strong yesterday, so it will be interesting to see what pace they have. We have done everything we can now, though, and I hope it's enough.
And you've got good speed, you've got a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, the feeling is good, it's just a matter if it's good enough.
Here is the reigning champion from last year, now with BMW, Martin Tomczyk, qualified only 10th, but the whole grid separated by only 1.6 seconds. And they're also recruited by BMW over the winter, Bruno Spengler, who came so close to winning the championship last year. Another former champion, Timo Scheider. He stays faithful to Audi. And there he is, the 3 times World Touring Car champion, the 38-year-old Andy Priaulx. Been desperate to race in the DTM for years. He gets his wish. In 6th place, Gary Paffett, but he thought he had a reasonable chance of doing well here. He knew the car was very good on full fuel tanks. Ahead of him on the grid, Mike Rockenfeller now returned to Audi Team Phoenix, where, of course, Martin Tomczyk won the championship last year, and they had lightning pit stops. And Eduardo Mortara, yes, the best rookie of last year. He is starting there in the 2nd row of the grid.
Here I am with Mr. Marquardt, I guess a very proud man. You had a phenomenal comeback yesterday, phenomenal qualifying, and Dirk Werner is starting in P3 today. I guess nobody really expected that, but how does it feel?
Well, it feels obviously great. As you said, we didn't expect it. I mean, it was really difficult to judge where we would be, and what we've achieved so far this weekend is just fantastic, way beyond what we expected. Now to be here in front of, I think, over 70,000 people is just great, amazing for the brand, for BMW. Be back after 20 years and have the M3 here in P3 right amongst our competitors is just great.
Yeah, BMW certainly starting very well. And, of course, 3rd place on the grid for Dirk Werner in those yellow colours. There's post-brief cars run by all 3 manufacturers. And Dirk Werner done a lot of Porsche racing, 30-year-old driver from Hanover. Here's Jamie Green, who won the last race of the old DTM here at Hockenheim last October. And Jamie would surely be near the front. So too with Matthias Ekstrom, of course, who went so well at the end of last season.
Are you proud of the new DTM?
I am more than proud. I am really happy that now is a new generation. I'm really happy about the new regulation, that it works so well. We had yesterday the first qualifying, and all 3 manufacturers are really together, and that's hopes for me that we have a very dramatic race, and that's the reason why I'm so proud and so happy in the moment.
So let's take a look at our virtual grid. There, Ekstrom and Green on the front row. Then that yellow BMW Werner alongside the rookie of last year, Mortara. Row 3, it's Mike Rockenfeller, can't miss that car, and Gary Paffett feeling good about this race. Then Andy Priaulx, good start for his DTM career, and Timo Scheider, a former champion. Next row up, Bruno Spengler, the nearly man, and Martin Tomczyk, his big rival from last year, who went on to the title. Ralf Schumacher qualified 11th. Adrian Tambay, there's another new boy. He is going very well, the son of Patrick Tambay, the Grand Prix driver. Rob Wickens from Canada, a rookie, and Philip Albuquerque from Portugal, Christian Vitoris, and Joey Hand, the first full-time American in the series from Sacramento, California. Miguel Molina disappointed, and David Coulthard qualified 18th. Then Augustus Farfus, the first Brazilian in the DTM, Roberto Merri, another rookie, and bringing up the back now, she's called Susie Wolf and Rahal Fry. So getting ready for the start of this race, looking down from our helicopter, look at those packed grandstands. The flags are waving as they go out on the warm-up lap. Everybody coming round, all V8 engines, lots of board members from the major manufacturers here looking on. And indeed, Michael Schumacher taking a big interest as the cars roll up for the start now. They have a new electronic handbrake this year, also on the steering wheel. They'll try and load the car up against the clutch on that handbrake, try and simulate a launch control, and it's go! And look at Tomczyk coming out, but brilliant start there by Matthias Ekstrom. Green is up there. I think Gary Paffett made a pretty good start too. Few of them going out wide as they come into this tight right-hander. And Ekstrom in the lead. Matthias Ekstrom, who was the strongest contender in the second half of last season, double DTM champion in the past, of course. Mortara also well up. Gary Paffett there just behind. Tomczyk trying to find a way by. Albuquerque, the blue car, can't miss that. And there you see the start. On the right, the yellow car, that is Dirk Werner, and he went backwards about 3 spaces. He got Andy Priaulx trying to get by him. This onboard start, we were right tucked up behind Mike Rockenfeller, and there's a little bit of nudging all right across in front of the camera, but don't think there was any contact. We go with Gary Paffett now from his onboard, and he got a good old launch, did Paffett, right down the inside alongside the pit wall, turns in, and Rockenfeller goes to the outside. Paffett trying to make up ground. Paffett having a lot of confidence after the morning warm-up. Down into the hairpin for the first time. We've seen plenty of incidents here in the past. And round goes Timo Scheider. Timo Scheider, the yellow and white car, must have got a nudge there, and the former double champion gets nudged off. Not a good start to his 2012. He's going to have to work hard from there. But at the front, Matthias Ekstrom, the Red Bull car. Then it is Jamie Green. Others coming out of the pack. We saw Farfus going through in the blue and green BMW. All the cars, of course, as last year with V8 engines, but now they have a common ECU, so they've had to do a lot of work, and BMW have produced a completely new engine for this DTM race car. There is your order coming up on the screen. And Paffett, I feel, is the man to watch here. Cars sliding around. They have a little less aero grip this year. They've got more mechanical grip, that's for sure. They don't have all the little winglets on the back of the car and also on the front wings that we've had in the past. Now let's see this replay. There's Priaulx going for the inside, and that's the touch. Ralf Schumacher just touched Scheider. Scheider went round. Now we're on board with Martin Tomczyk. What did he see? Well, he got, he very nearly T-boned Scheider, but Scheider managed to spin out of the way. That was so lucky. There's Timo Scheider, gets the little tap on the rear, and that spins him round. He's not going to be happy with Ralf, the veteran of that Grand Prix success with Williams BMW. 6 Grand Prix he's won, but he hasn't won a race for the best part of 9 years now. Ekstrom still in the lead. Paffett, you see, up to 3rd place now. Werner has dropped back. Priaulx is having a good start in the Crown Plaza Hotel back car. Ralf Schumacher got involved in the incident, so also moved up. You'll see him. And there's a Paffett move. That moves Paffett up past Mortara. Mortara, the second of the Audis there. And this is looking good for BMW. It's looking good for Mercedes. Audi, well, still in the lead at the moment, but I'm sure that Paffett is closing in. Certainly the timing screens show that. Farfus, one of the newcomers, Joey Hand, also has had all that success with BMW in the United States, won the Sebring GT category this year. Some great racing going on, and look at the black car with the yellow mirrors. That's Ralf Schumacher, and Schumacher tries a fast line round the outside, coming down into the hairpin. Schumacher already in the wars, and here he's late braking again, and Schumacher into Werner. He spins Werner around. Others are involved. Tomczyk involved. Adrian Tambay is involved also. And I'm not sure that Tambay can get going again. And what about Werner? Can he fire it up? But what about Bruno Spengler? Werner spins it round. Oh, that's come from Spengler's car. It's, the black BMW is now bonnetless. Well, he's going to have to go into the pits. And look, smoke coming out of the car. 2 bonnets missing. Well, there you see the replay. Well, I have to point the finger at Ralf Schumacher again. Schumacher causing a second incident. Just too late on the brakes. Here we see it in replay. There into Werner's car, collected there by Spengler. Spengler's bonnet obviously badly damaged, and then, well, various people spinning afterwards there. The bonnet taking off, and he'll have to head for the pits. And I'm sure the BMW crew not happy about this. There they are, throw their hands in the air.
What happened there in the collision?
Well, yeah, well, first of all, my start was okay, and well, it was the first couple of laps were a bit tricky, but I managed to get myself through. I overtook Adrien Tambay again, and he was quite fair with me. And then I overtook Ralf on the straight, exiting. I had a better exit than him, and the corner before he made a mistake. So I was quite in front of him, but he braked just way too late into the crash into my teammate. And I had nowhere to pass. Didn't have anywhere to pass, and I just had to touch him. Unfortunately, I lost my bonnet. I mean, from an old Formula 1 driver, I would expect a little bit more fairness and a little bit more intelligence in racing, but that's the way it is now. There's nothing I can do. We had a very good car today also, but I'm just looking forward to the next races, to be honest. And I mean, it's a great story which starts, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, he certainly didn't pull his punches, did he? And Patrick Tambay's son, Adrian, I think it's the end of the race for him, a short DTM debut, but when he was running, he was impressing. So now those 2 Mercedes and the 2 Brits closing down the Audi. Prio continuing to go well. Mortara in P4, Rockefeller behind him. Have this replay of a bit of bumping and boring going on further down the field. Roberto Merri involved in that, and also Martin Tomczyk. Wow, this has been a hectic opening few laps, hasn't it? I think Tomczyk is heading for the pits. Well, what a hectic start to this 2012 season. More action than we normally see, and some real elbows out driving. And the BMW comes in, dragging its bodywork. And look at this, the Mercedes have moved past the Red Bull Audi of Ekstrom, and Ekstrom being elbowed out. And it's absolutely wheel to wheel with Gary. They've done this in the past, running all around the circuit. Virtually wheel nut to wheel nut. View from Paffett's car. Old rivals, Paffett and Ekstrom. We've got a lot of respect for each other. And another attack there down the inside this time from Gary, and that works. Makes it a Mercedes 1-2. And these Mercedes running beautifully on their full tanks, probably better than Audi. Remember, Audi qualifying on the pole, but in full tank setup. Seem to have a faster car, using the hand coops to good effect on board with Ekstrom. And a lock up there from Ekstrom. This is the replay. This is how Jamie Green went into the lead. Ekstrom just locking it up, losing a tiny bit of momentum, 0.2, 0.3 of a second. And Jamie Green, the man from Leicester, now lives in Monaco, quick to pounce. You see it on board, and locked up, went wide. Just shows how fast and furious this battle is here. So, Mercedes 1-2, And dismay for BMW. Martin Tomczyk retires in the pits. His first run for BM comes to naught.
What exactly happened from your point of view?
I mean, I can't say it now because I have to look the television pictures. But anyhow, I got kicked around in the first laps. I never had it so far in DTM. So perhaps everyone was a bit over-motivated at the first race. Nevertheless, I think we proved that our car is fast enough to be on the top. I think it would be a very good race for us today. Unfortunately, I'm out now, so let's try it again in Lausitzring. But actually, it's a pity and it's a shame to stand already here and have to watch the first race.
Yeah, kicked around, that was about it, wasn't it? So, Mercedes 1-2 at the front. Green and Paffett, the two Brits. And we go on board with Gary Paffett here. This is him overtaking Matthias Ekstrom. Great move down the inside. And there you see Ekstrom, I think, having some trouble with the brakes, in fact, on the Audi, and that is hampering him. So I'll be interested to see now what happens between Green and Paffett. Green in the chrome-covered car, Paffett in the familiar black Thomas Sabo colours. Mortara still hanging on well in fourth place. And Ralf Schumacher, I think, is going to be coming in to serve a drive-through penalty, which he, I have to say, richly deserves. Where's Ekstrom then dropping back a bit? So it's Mercedes. Then we've got the three Audis going through your picture now, and then we've got Andy Prio doing a good job, and here comes Ralph to take his penalty, and that's going to drop him down the field. Let's remember we've got the pit stops to contend with, but this year just putting on a new set of rubber. There is Ralph back in the fray in about 18th position, I think. Quite a lot of innovations in this series. Oh, there's Jens Marquardt just into the consoling game there with Tomczyk. But yeah, lots of innovations. We've mentioned a lot of them, but things like these cars used to have steel roofs from the actual road car. They don't have that anymore. They're composite parts now. About 40-odd of the parts are common to all the cars. They all have the same fuel and gearbox. Nice little battle going on here down the field. BMW, remember, running 6 cars. The other two manufacturers running 8. Timo Scheider's been pushing quite hard, trying to recover. Here is Scheider, and he's on the back of Roberto Merri now, tries to go down the inside, and nudges him off, and quite a bit of damage to Timo Scheider. He could be heading towards the pits as we see it again in a replay. Bang, that's it. Parfus goes through too.
Also for Timo, the race ended way too soon. You had a spin in the very beginning, but why did the race end for you now?
Well, after Ralf hit me in turn 3 and spun me around, I was last. After that, I had a quite good performance coming from the last. I catch some cars and I felt quite good. But then I had a fight with Merri, and I think he had to learn how driving with the DTM guy has to be, because it looked like that the winter was just a little bit too long for him.
Now we're into the first of the 2 pit stops. Ekstrom in. The app team just so good at this. They'll be aiming for 3 seconds. Mortara also making a stop. 3.3, that's a good one. Interesting to see how BMW get on with their pit stops. They've got 3 teams, each running a pair of cars. Not used to the DTM style of pit stops. Good exit for Ekstrom. Gets ahead of all those cars. That's what a good pit stop does for you. And he's got clear track in front of him. These cars always run a bit faster. Here is Jamie Green coming in. First Mercedes stop. Tyres at the ready. There you see that incredible chrome bodywork this car has. And Green accelerates out. Oh, and it's that Joey Hand going round. Yeah, I think Matara involved in that. Hand knocked into a spin. Paffett comes in for his pit stop. Tension here. Maybe he can jump past Green. The two teammates here is Green coming. Here is the pit stop. Will it be quick? Will it get him out in front? Out he goes. Accelerates away. He's pit right near the end, and I think he's going to jump Green, is he? Or has Green got the momentum? Green has, I think, got the momentum. And they're side by side. Still side by side. Great racing. These new DTM cars certainly proving to run very close together. Look at this. Still they're side by side. Amazing stuff. But there. Now Paffett's got the outside. They know each other well, this pair, of course. Just keeping a little bit of distance between each other. Must trust each other, because they are teammates after all. And Paffett, you see, just got the inside line there, which moves him ahead, so it's Paffett first now. Gary Paffett endured an awful season. There's one of the board members of Mercedes-Benz. He's happy about that. And Farfus comes in. Oh, and Farfus decides not to stop. Not quite sure. Maybe it just wasn't strong enough on the brakes there. Farfus goes out again and probably broken the pit speed limit on the way. So disaster for the Brazilian. Let's see it again. Well, just maybe he wasn't in the right place. Certainly wasn't confident of his first DTM stop. Absolute disaster. David Coulthard's been moving up. David Coulthard, the yellow car there, fighting for 9th place. So, good run by David Coulthard. And battling with Miguel Molina, the Spaniard, in the second of the Red Bull cars. Merry in front of him. Ralf Schumacher, you know, could get some points. He's putting in some very quick times at the moment, despite that penalty. It was just a stop-go. A drive-through. Now that's a replay of the Coulthard and switching sides, and then the Spaniard hasn't got the advantage. He's still got the advantage. We see it again in replay. There is Molina. He's out over the grass. David Coulthard, still a tough competitor despite all those years racing. Christian Victoris now concentrating on the DTM, and now for the HWA, the top team. He makes his pit stop, and Rockenfeller just goes by. Second round of pit stops coming up soon. There's Rockenfeller, who survived that huge accident at Le Mans last year. Had to miss the DTM race because of his injuries, but he's bouncing back. Had a win last season. There's Green out the end of his second pit stop. And what about the Green versus Paffett situation now? Well, no contest really. Paffett had really had his head down that last little section of laps, and he has pulled a couple of seconds ahead of Green. Well, Schumacher just, I think, making a move. And Schumacher moving up to 8th place. And Schumacher tucked in behind David Coulthard. If they get to race each other, that will be interesting. There's Ralph. For this time he managed to make that hairpin without smacking into anybody. Not a good day for the two recruits to BMW, Tomczyk and Spengler, both out early on in those incidents. Doris, we haven't said much about him, but he is having a very good run. There he is in the Mercedes-Benz Bank, the silver car, colours that we used to Spengler running in the past. And he's having a big battle there for 4th and 5th with Mike Rockenfeller. And behind him then the purple and white car is Andy Brio. Brio already proving very popular in the paddock. Always gives great answers in interviews. And then just look at that. Vitoris goes past the bright yellow and green car. It's a replay here of the two Grand Prix stars together. moving ahead. Just some of the timing there between these two. Prio, the best of the BMWs this race. Definitely going the Mercedes-Benz way. Well, we know that the Mercedes-Benz are quicker on full tanks, but now most of the fuel has burned off. Is there any chance that Ekstrom can close back on the pair of two Brits in the Mercs? Well, we'll have to see in these closing laps. There he is, Mattias Ekstrom, the Swiss-based Swede. Now a very proud father in the last year. Yeah. Great helicopter shot. Look at those grandstands. 120,000 seats there are there. And they're going to watch this man come towards the checkered flag now to start the new era of the DTM, the new cars. Gary Paffett, terrible season last year, starts here in brilliant style to take the first victory for the new DTM. Jamie Green follows behind. British 1-2, they celebrate at Mercedes-Benz. And Gary Paffett wins his third victory of the last 6 here at Hockenheim. It's a circuit which has been good to him. The rest come home. Audi have to be happy with third. The Taurus is fourth. Rockenfeller fends off Andy Prio for fifth. But it's Gary Paffett who takes the victory. There's a disappointed Timo Scheider, but here is Gary Paffett. Let's hear now from the Mercedes-Benz boss, Norbert Haug.
This was great. I mean, this is so important for the guys who worked so hard to get the first victory and then a 1-2. I mean, the guys were in a class of their own, both of them. So that was really, really amazing and great job. And thank you. Thanks to all of them and thanks to Gerhard Unger and all the HWA guys from the Mügge, from the Person team. Great, great team effort. Thank you all.
And there is Gary Paffett, his 17th DTM victory. Let's hear now from the boss of Audi, Wolfgang Ullrich.
I have to say, after the really good performance we had yesterday in qualifying, we just couldn't find the same performance level today for the race. And this was why we struggled a little bit. We made 3 and 5. It's not too bad starting the season. For sure, after qualifying like this, you always think you can win the race. But we know we have strong competitors, so congratulations to Mercedes, and we will try to beat back at the next race.
Next race in just 1 week's time, of course, at the Lausitz Ring. There is your top 10. Albuquerque didn't speak much about him. He came through to 10th place.
How do you feel about the race?
Yeah, I'm happy with second place. I'm not over the moon. I would have liked to get the win, but Gary had a good first pit stop and we came out side by side and had a nice little battle. But in the first race of the year with your teammate, you definitely don't want to have an incident. And I thought it was better to keep it fair and clean and get a 1-2, which is great for Mercedes.
And you guys really dominated the race, so I guess it gives you a very good feeling for the next race as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, we didn't know what to expect, so this is the first real acid test, and I think we showed what we can do. So it's a nice feeling for the whole team that we've done such a good job to build this great car. So it's a good start.
So here's the points with the new Grand Prix style system, and of course it's Paffett and Green at the top.
Gary, congratulations! What a phenomenal race for you.
It was amazing. We knew we had a quick car, but until you get in the race, you don't know. And already in the first few laps, I knew the car was good. And I had a few cars to get past. There was a bit of fighting. I managed to get past the Audis pretty quickly. We pulled a big gap at the start, and then it was just a fight between me and Jamie. We sorted it out pretty quickly, and then disappeared. So incredible race, incredible.
Yeah, congratulations to Gary Paffett. He'll be looking forward to the race in just a week's time. This is how he finished on board, came close to the pit wall. That's where his pit crew worked so hard to make this race car a winner. But what about Mattias Ekstrom? He would be up on the podium as well. Look at the pit board, it said cool. I like that. There they are. They don't look quite so cool on the podium. It's been a pretty warm day here at Hockenheim. But now let's hear from the man who finished in third place, Mattias Ekstrom.
Starting from pole, then you did one mistake, you had a little lock-up, and then you just couldn't get back to the front. But how do you feel about the third place? Pretty happy for the start?
I mean, third place is better than nothing, but when you start from pole, I was hoping for more. But in the beginning of the race, I could easily feel that Jamie, I was holding him up, and then when he's starting to put pressure, I tried to improve my pace, but we struggled a bit on the brakes. Quite a lot, and then I had a lock-up and he went by, but then Gary, he was in a different class, so against him I had nothing. So then I was just trying to pace myself with the car I have, and in the end they were far in front, so congratulations to Mercedes and Gary and Jamie, but luckily we have 9 more races to come.
9 more races to come, as he says, and the show event in Munich. But let's hear now from the best BMW finisher. It's another Briton, it's Andy Prio, and he was certainly happy.
Well, I'm very, very happy. I think there was, always going to be a big expectation for this weekend, and we needed to be realistic with that. But to come away from, Hockenheim first race, P6, and having a very quick car in qualifying, I think is something we should be very proud of. But the race was good. We need to learn from it, see what we can gain, and in strategy and pit stops, and see if we can close the gap to the Mercedes. But what we've achieved in this weekend with BMW's first race after 20 years of being out of the championship, I think is a real credit to BMW, and what they've done shows their quality.
I do hope you enjoyed the highlights. That certainly was a phenomenal first race weekend. Mercedes-Benz clearly having dominated the race. Audi needs to fight back now in the next race, and BMW clearly needs to find their race pace. But since the next race is already next weekend at the Lausitzring, I'm sure it's going to be just as exciting. So you don't want to miss it, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Yeah, a bye-bye from Verena, a goodbye from me, Andrew Marriott, and we'll leave you with some of the best images from the opening round of the 2012 DTM race here at Hockenheim. Lots of action, and ultimately a Mercedes British 1-2. Bye-bye.